Shalom and welcome to part 3 of the appointed times in the search for the true Sabbath. This video will be the last of what I consider to be foundational to my purpose for making these videos, which is to share with you the teachings and instructions my Father has given to me concerning His true Sabbath. In part 4, this will begin in earnest. In videos part 1 and part 2, we introduced the basics of how the heavens are permanent and speak a universal language for everyone. We introduced you to some of the constellations that are speaking Father Yahuwah's instructions, and in this part 3 we will introduce to you some of the Hebrew words associated with the appointed times. For some of you, this portion will be a good review of words you are familiar with already. For others, this information will be brand new. The reason I feel it is important to spend time on this prior to the true Sabbath teaching is because I don't want to leave anyone behind. I will be using many of these words in the coming videos, and as I expressed in part 1, it is important to me that I not throw you off guard or make you feel lost, discouraged, or overwhelmed. There is another reason too, and that is, it is important to me that each of you know and see for yourselves where these ideas and concepts come from. Now, I'm not telling you how to do your own research and study, but I will tell you how I do mine. These are my primary search out and confirm sources: the Ancient Hebrew Research Center by Jeff Benner, and a special thanks to him for providing the downloadable zip drive for the Ancient Hebrew letters. The Scriptures, which is a translation of the Bible using the original Hebrew names, and the rest you can see there on the screen. Hebrew is an amazing language. It is based upon word pictures and action. Each Hebrew word is built on a foundational root of either 2 letters or 3 letters. The parent root gives us the foundational meaning, and I almost always research this out when I am studying a word, so that I remain on the proper path of understanding. As letters are added, it gives rise to child roots. There are also prefixes and suffixes, just like in the English language, that add to the meaning. After I've studied the parent root, if what I previously held to be a concept or meaning of a word is in error, I change my view to agree with the text. Then I will research the first mention and use of the word in Scripture, most desirably in the Torah, or following the phrase, "Thus said Yahuwah." So we will begin with the word light. Oh, and take note, when you see either the ancient Hebrew picture or modern script, you read them from right to left. So the Hebrew word translated as light is or. It's an aleph, a waw, and a resh. The 2-letter root is aleph, resh. It is a picture of an ox and the head of a man. This word is all about order. Order, order, order. The concept here is how a variety of things are all mixed up, but then we place each of them in a box to order them, to arrange them, and to organize them. This is our for light. Now, Yahuwah made 2 great lights, but this time, as you can see by the Hebrew word for these lights, they are not exactly the same as the light from day 1. There is now a letter M or mem added as a prefix to the or to give us me'or. And as you can see here, I've told you what the M, or in Hebrew mem, means when used as a prefix. It means what comes from or what comes out of. So we are given a greater light, ma'or gadol, and a lesser light, ma'or katan. Remembering now that light or or means bringing order through containment or arrangement, we can now see that these lights, the sun and the moon, are also order brought about by containment, and they both come from or out of the initial light. Do you see that? Now, interestingly enough, the Hebrew word ma'or, we are told, means luminary, and the definition of luminary is artificial light. So what do we have here? We have Elohim making 2 great boxes, or in this case, circular containers, for the purpose of order, and they come from the initial light. Please make note how both containers are created using the same narrative. He does not say that the lesser light reflects the light of the greater. He gives them equal origination and creation. This is very important. Either we believe the Creator or we believe man and his science, but we cannot believe both. Now, isn't it fun to imagine what it is you are seeing in the sun and the moon? Two containers that hold the light of day one for the purpose of what? Yes, order. All right, now let's look at the Hebrew word translated as stars. It is kaukab. Kaf, wal, kaf, bait. Kaf is an open palm or hand, wal is a tent peg, and bait is a house. Its parent root is kauk, kaf, vav, kaf. Now here is what Strong's tells us about kaukab. Probably from the same as another word that means to heap up in the sense of rolling, or to burn in the sense of blazing, or simply star. Well, let's see if we can find out more through pictures. The meaning of the parent root kauk is an open hand connected or pegged to an open hand. Kaf can mean open, palm, bent palm, tame, or submission. So we have an opening connected to an opening, and sure enough, one meaning of the parent root kauk is a sieve. So when you are looking up at the night sky, you have a sieve overhead, or it's like a canvas with windows or openings burnt through. Now we are not told these are lights. They are openings on a house. See the bait, which means house or inside. So the stars seem to be for the purpose of communication to me. Ever seen Braille writing? Isn't it just amazing? So far we have covered the sun, moon, and stars, and we've seen order and communication right there in the Hebrew letters and words. Can this be supported by our Father's words? Let's look. Yahuwah tells us exactly what He has given them to us for. And let them be for signs, appointed times, days, and years. So that's what we're going to take a look at next. Starting with the word signs, the Hebrew word is aut, spelled aleph, waw, taw. The parent root is aleph, taw. This is a very exciting word in Hebrew, in my opinion, and yes, I do believe that the primary meaning is the aleph, taw, Yahusha. But for this teaching, we are going to look at it concretely. It is an ox and two crossed sticks. Combined, these represent an ox moving toward a mark. It's like a plowman plowing a field using an ox. He sets his marker out in front, at a distance, so that he can walk toward it and keep his plowed row straight. We follow road markers and signs when we are traveling also. This also means flag, banner, in order for us to recognize and to rally around. Most importantly, though, an agreement or covenant by two, where a sign or a mark of the agreement is made, and it is a reminder to both parties. So the first reason he lists that he has given us the sun, moon, and stars was to be an agreement or a covenant. Wow, and we pretty much ignore them, don't we? I challenge you to discontinue ignoring them and start listening. They have been given to us so that we can be in covenant and agreement with Yahuwah. Our next word is appointed times, translated from the Hebrew word moed. You should be starting to recognize the plural I am ending by now on many of these words. Here we have the parent root being ed. You are looking at ayin, which is an eye to see or understand, and a dalet, the door. It is a door that would be on a tent, mind you. It was rolled up or lowered when needed. And again we have the mem prefix, meaning what comes from or out of. Ayin dalet means see the door. And then mem causes the concept to adjust to say what comes from seeing the door. Seeing the door means you're almost home, and it could mean you are seeing into the future. It could mean you are about to pass through the door, even put on an ornament as an honored guest at a banquet. So again, the sun, moon, and stars are given to tell us of the mo'adim, the appointed times, times we are to attend a banquet. I don't know about you, but I want to be there. I want to see the door. Our next word is yom for days. The parent root is yod mem. Now this time the mem is part of the root, so we don't treat it as a prefix. The yod is the working or creating hand. The mem is water, movement, or chaos. Together, these mean working water. Something I was seeing in this word picture was the idea of taking hold of chaos. The day is when we work, clean, manage, accomplish things. If we didn't, total chaos would ensue. But I cannot confirm this idea, it just seemed to make sense to me. In Hebrew, the day is observed from evening to evening and is marked as the sun setting in the west over the Mediterranean Sea. When it travels its path and comes back to the west again, another day is marked. This is why this word yom also means west. I'd like to point out, just for good measure, that days are not marked by a clock or a watch. They, again, are marked by what Yahuwah gave us, the sun, the greater light. Our next word is years. This is a great word. It is the Hebrew word shaneh. It is shin, nun, he. Shaneh. The parent root is shin, nun. The shin is two front teeth, which means press, cut, consume, or devour. The nun is a seed and means continuance, life, or inheritance, just to name a few. Remember, these are concepts, and that is why they can mean so many different English words. Together, these mean press the seed. This is so awesome. Although it means press the seed, what does this mean? It means the yearly cycle, of course, right? It is an action that is done each and every year at a particular time. So perhaps if we wanted to say one specific English word for this Hebrew word shaneh, it would be cycle. And again, just to remind how far off the straight path we are, the sun, moon, and stars were given to us for the year. It is not the calendar hanging on your wall. Yahuwah's year begins in the springtime, and we will see that in the Hebrew words too later on. Let us pause for a moment to review now what we have been shown. The greater light and the lesser light and the openings in the canvas that is the heavens were given to us by Yahuwah for order, communication, covenant and agreement, for gathering to the door, which is the tent of appointment in Yahushua Moshiach, and for the daylight, which is connected to work, and for cycles, which is connected to sowing and reaping. Notice, please, and this is also very important, when you look at this list, what you see is not about time per se. It is about covenant. It is about walking with our Creator. Rest when He rests, work when He works, and He has given us the sun, moon, and the stars to be able to do this. I'm going to ask you a question now to cause you to think about something. If we are not using what Yahuwah gave us to walk with Him, just what is it are we using? And just who are we walking with? Think about that. We have time for one more word today. The rest I will have to attend to as they come up in future videos. This final word for today is chodesh. It is the Hebrew word for month, primarily. It also means renewal and new moon. It is the letters chet, dalet, and shin. The parent root is chet, dalet. The chet is a tent wall and means to separate or divide, as in the men's and women's side of the tent house. The dalet is the door, which is a door, a window, and in action means movement. Together, these mean wall, door. It is the concept of a wall separating two rooms with a common door that joins them. It is the idea of two or more coming together as unity. This also gives it the idea of renewal, as in renewal of life in procreation. And the shin, the teeth, add to that concept the idea of pressing. The full meaning being a wall moving and pressing until unity is accomplished. As we observe the moon each night, and then later in each month we can observe it in the early morning hours, we can literally watch the wall of division between light and dark press across the face of the moon. First the light part until unity is reached and we get a full moon, then the dark part until unity is reached and we have a new moon. Then the process renews and we will go on for 29.5 more days. And the renewal will begin again. I truly hope you have enjoyed this sharing today. The day I am posting this video is the 5th of April, 2016, on the Beast's calendar system. I hope you are watching this today and tomorrow so that you may observe and watch with us the coming Chodesh, new moon, that will occur on the 7th of April, 2016. This Chodesh will be the Rosh Chodesh of our Father's New Year, marking the first month of a very special year, the Sabbath year. Please join me next time for part 4 when I begin sharing with you how to make your appointments on the true Sabbaths using only what our Creator gave us to use. Shalom for now.